10 things I wish I knew way back in the day when I suffered from social anxiety that would have saved me years and years of pain, frustration, and needless suffering. I'm Shaun Grant. For 15 years, I suffered from GAD, social phobia, and agoraphobia. At the height of my suffering, I was a real freaking nightmare. No worries, that's fish and chip paper now because 17 years ago I finally cracked the code and completely healed myself. And for the last 16 years, I've helped thousands of anxiety sufferers from all around the world, from all walks of life, patch their lives back together. Through my book, Attackpanic, which is now in its second edition, through my one-on-one 4-week personal coaching program, and also my online courses. I learned these 10 things the hard way from my own brutal battle and from working close with real students, real lives, and real recoveries. And if you take them seriously and apply them, you'll also save yourself years of pain and suffering. Now I'm about to drop some pretty heavy truth bombs on you, and like my nanny used to say, truth bombs are like good old-fashioned medicine. Hard to swallow, but good for you. Yeah, she didn't really say that. I made that bit up. Anywho, you may or may not be ready for my brutal honesty, my sharp intelligence, and my obvious hilarious sense of humor and bubbly personality. I really don't give a shit. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make a difference. I don't hold punches. There's no fluff, no sugarcoating, no free webinar, no bullshit. This is not my first rodeo. What I teach is field-tested, battle-hardened, and I've got the track record and results. This shit works if you work. End of story. So if you're ready and willing to change, to actually start your journey to healing, let's go. Lesson number 1, you do not have a mental illness or disorder. If you find yourself triggering high anxiety or even full-blown panic in everyday situations like standing in queues at the bank, walking into a cafe, sitting in meetings, or just shopping at the mall, and are otherwise healthy, then you do not suffer from a mental illness. You're not broken. What you're dealing with is a habitual pattern of learned behavior, a behavioral condition. That's right, you've taught yourself to react with inappropriate anxiety in situations that don't call for it, and you've done it unknowingly through a learning process called operant conditioning, or more specifically, fear conditioning. Now, the whole anatomy of anxiety is a beast of a subject, so I won't go deep here, but if you want the full breakdown, there's a link in the description below to a long lesson. Now, consider this. Anxiety, even the high stuff, is not a mental illness. Fact. Feeling anxious on any given day, that's perfectly normal. In fact, it's healthy. It's your survival system, your internal alarm. It tells you when something's wrong and needs your attention. Now, under normal conditions, you notice you're anxious, figure out what the problem is, solve it, and the alarm turns off. Back to baseline. But here's where it goes all pear-shaped. Some of us manage to artificially raise our anxiety levels, even when nothing's wrong. We keep doing it again and again, and over time, anxiety becomes the default. We condition ourselves to feel unsafe, even when we're perfectly safe. It's uncomfortable, it's irritating. Sometimes it triggers the panic response, and because that feels horrible, you freak out even more. So if that happens while you're, say, standing in a queue at the bank, your brain links that sensation to that place. Next time you go to that bank, panic gets triggered again. If you don't interrupt that loop, you end up reinforcing it. Welcome to rinse and repeat. Welcome to social anxiety. That's it. That's the truth. You haven't lost your marbles. You've just taught yourself to freak out for no reason, and you can unlearn it. Let's lock in a few critical points. You don't fear the queue, you fear the sensations. You don't want to avoid the bank, you want to avoid how you feel in the bank. Those sensations, horrible yes, harmful no. You fear the fear itself, and the fear is just a false alarm. They've never hurt you, and they never will. I do get what you're going through. By late 2008, I was a weapon of mass destruction. My social anxiety got so bad, I became terrified of losing my shit and being judged for freaking out in public. So I just stopped going out altogether. That avoidance led to full-blown agoraphobia. But I did manage to fix myself, and now I'm going to help you do the same. Here are the big takeaways. You're not mentally ill. You're not going crazy. You do not have a disorder. You have a learned pattern of behavior which you can unlearn. You fear the sensations, not the situation. Those sensations are horrible but harmless. And once you stop treating them like a threat, they lose their power. You've got the power to retrain your brain. This is just the beginning. Lesson number 2, your beliefs are your traitors. Our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. Some guy over 400 years ago said that. He was bang on then, and nothing's changed. Doubt paralyzes action. Doubt kills courage, and doubt is just belief in disguise. Whatever you believe, whether it's real or imagined or complete fucking bullshit, it becomes true for you. Beliefs shape your thoughts, actions, and identity. Your world reflects them. If you believe you're broken, helpless, or doomed, you'll act like it, and your world will mirror those beliefs. That's not fate, that's programming. I used to believe I had a mental disorder. I mean, that's the lie we're sold, right? So-called experts gave me pills to pop or made me lie on a fucking couch and talk shit, but nothing worked. No surprises there. So I started avoiding cafes, queues, people, thinking that was smart. It made me feel safer, but I wasn't healing. I was reinforcing the loop. My beliefs kept me stuck. And worse, every avoidance proved the belief right. Saying shit like, see, I knew it. I knew that would happen. I knew I was right. I wasn't right. I was just acting in line with my beliefs, and my reality responded. This is called confirmation bias, a self-fulfilling prophecy, a vicious feedback loop. Now, eventually I realized that my beliefs were the enemy and I wanted to be free. I had to let them go and build new ones. I had to believe I could heal, that healing was possible, that I wasn't broken. I was just stuck in a pattern. And when I did, my actions changed. I walked into cafes. I hunted down queues like a bounty hunter. I practiced not giving a shit what people thought. And slowly a new loop formed. New beliefs, new actions, new life. So here's the truth bomb. Your beliefs got you here, but they don't have to keep you here. If they're not helping you, ditch the fuckers. You have the power to choose new beliefs, and what you choose will shape your world. You don't have to stay stuck. It's your choice. Change your beliefs, change your actions, change your life. Lesson number 3, understanding the panic cycle. So why is the panic cycle in the top 10 things I wish I'd known? Because just knowing that this thing even exists and understanding how it works gives you the upper hand. When you know what's happening and that you can disrupt it, you gain confidence. Confidence that you can move into your hot moment, your false fear, your false alarm, and crush it every time. So as a sufferer of social anxiety, you don't go from 0 to panic in an instant. You don't just spin out of control from nowhere. You go through something called the panic cycle. It all starts with a mild familiar discomfort in your body. This can be triggered by a thought or something in your environment, like walking into a meeting, standing in a queue at a supermarket or a bank, hearing your name being called. At first, those sensations are just an irritation. And here's the turning point. Whether those sensations just linger in the background or explode into full-blown panic comes down to this: how you choose to react in the moment, what you say to yourself, what you do with your body, and the attitude that you bring in that exact moment. Those choices determines what happens next every single time. Let's quickly break it down. The panic cycle, also known as the emergency response. The initial anxious sensations or intrusive thoughts, whether triggered by an event or situation or appearing out of nowhere, are registered by the brain. Based on memory of past experiences, the conscious mind interprets these stimuli as dangerous. Unusual sensations and thoughts increase, raising anxiety levels. The conscious mind focuses more on the physical sensations, reacts with more fear, and stops looking for solutions or facts. Anxiety rises to extreme levels as the conscious mind interprets sensations as signs of imminent catastrophe, like dying of a heart attack, losing your shit, suffocating, freaking out in front of others, and being judged. The brain activates the emergency fight or flight response, resulting in a panic attack. The urge to escape becomes overwhelming. Now here's what you need to remember. You won't be able to stop those initial sensations from showing up, not right away. They're part of a deeply wired pattern. you've been unknowingly reinforcing. But the good news, you don't need to stop them. You just need to choose how you react to them. With practice and perseverance, you'll learn to interrupt the cycle. You'll learn how to stop panic at any stage, even when it's halfway through. The key, choose acceptance over resistance. Choose non-fear over fear, because depending on your reaction, you're either fueling the panic, telling the subconscious to ramp up protection, or standing it down, telling the subconscious there's no threat, no danger. And here's the best part. At any point in the panic cycle, you can give the order to stand down and your subconscious will obey. It has no choice. It doesn't know the difference between fact or fiction. It's just doing what you tell it to do through your conscious choice of how you react, which is either steeped in fear or fearlessness. This applies to all anxiety conditions, by the way: OCD, PTSD, agoraphobia, GAD, social phobia. Whatever the label, the panic cycle is at play, and now you finally know how to break it. Lesson number 4, coping strategies make you feel better, but won't make you better. Everything you're currently doing to manage or cope with anxiety probably feels like the right thing to do, right? Makes you feel better in the moment. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Just because something makes you feel better doesn't mean it makes you better. Not opening your pile of bills might make you feel good today, but eventually someone's going to come and take your furniture. Every time you rely on a coping strategy or safety crutch, you send your subconscious a message: I need this to survive. That message locks in the fear. It hardwires the loop. Let me take you back to 2008 when I was a complete train wreck. Cafes were my battlefield, but they were impossible to avoid. Friends, families, clients all wanted to meet in cafes. One morning, I was to catch up with my mates in a popular spot in George Street in Palmerston North. The dread, as always, kicked in early. What if I panic? What if I lose my shit in front of everyone? To manage, I fell back on all my rituals. Breathing exercises, pacing, self-talk to try and get my shit together, planning exit strategies. Classic coping. By the time I got there, I was already panicking, flushed, tightening of the chest, difficulty in breathing and swallowing, massive feeling of doom closing in. As I reached for the cafe door, I fucking froze. It felt like everyone was watching my next move. People outside thinking, why isn't he going in? People inside going, look at that loser. What's he up to? They weren't. I had two choices: walk in, let it happen, and not give a shit. Or fake a call, sneak slowly away and bolt. And of course, I caved. I pulled out my phone and faked the call, and once I edged away from the entrance and out of sight, I did a runner. Instant relief. Panic gone. But here's what I didn't realize then that I wish I did. That escape didn't heal me. It trained me. My brain learned that bolting equaled survival. That made the fear stronger, the next time harder, and worst of all, I beat myself up afterwards, ashamed, embarrassed, convinced everyone saw me break. So let's be clear, that coping strategy may have made me feel better, but it made my anxiety worse. It reinforced the loop. It proved my fear was valid. Why? Because safety crutches and coping techniques focus on managing sensations, not fixing the cause. What could you do instead? Here's the thing. The real fix won't make you feel better at the start. In fact, it'll feel worse, but it will make you better. What if in your hot moment, you did the opposite? What if you threw away all the safety crutches? What if instead of grabbing the phone and pretending, you stood your ground? What if you said to yourself something like, I don't have a disorder. These sensations are horrible, but harmless. This is just a false alarm. Fuck it. Whatever happens, I'll handle it. Do your worst. And then walk through that cafe door? If you did that with courage, belief, and trust, your subconscious would receive a new message. I'm not afraid. And guess what? Your subconscious would believe you because it doesn't know what's real. It just follows you. When you stop resisting, it stands down. That's just how shit works. Truth bomb number 1, therapy. Quick proviso, when I refer to therapy and medication, it's always in relation to anxiety conditions only. Keep everything I say in context. If you've been going to therapy for social anxiety and you're still suffering, then that shit ain't working. Sure, might make you feel better when you're lying on the couch, but that's not healing. That's emotional comfort. And emotional comfort does not equal recovery. Why? Because you're still talking about symptoms, the sensations, the scary thoughts, the fallout. And the more you talk about symptoms, the more power you give them. You reinforce the loop. Talking isn't fixing, action is, changes, courages. You don't need to manage, you need to rewire. Otherwise, therapy just becomes another crutch. Truth bomb number 2, dirty old medication. Another proviso: if you're dealing with GAD, PTSD, OCD, panic attacks, agoraphobia, or social anxiety, these are behavioral conditions, they're not mental illnesses, which means they don't require medication. Here's the thing: anxiety is a signal. It's your body saying something needs attention. Medication mutes the signal. They don't fix the cause. It's like pulling the battery out of the smoke alarm in the kitchen because the noise is pissing you off. Sure, you've solved that annoying problem, but you're ruining your dinner on the stove, and unless you do something about it, that won't be the only thing you ruin. Medication will not rewire the belief. Only you can do that. Final truth: if this lesson hits hard, good, because this is your fork in the road. You can keep doing what you've always done, coping, managing, avoiding, numbing, or you can choose a different path, one that requires courage, one that brings discomfort, one that leads to freedom. You don't need more strategies. You need truth. You need change. You need a new attitude. That's when real healing begins. Lesson number 5, attitude is everything. This one is a real doozy, and it's so critical I dedicate an entire building blocks to it in Attackpanic, because attitude is the answer to ending your suffering. You need nothing else. Nothing else. Here's what one of my favorite trainers, Dr. Reed Wilson, who was instrumental in my eventual healing, has to say about attitude. Your resistance, your commitment to fight or avoid your discomfort actually causes your continued problem with panic. The single most important way to win over panic attacks is to change your attitude towards the panic. Everything you're currently doing to protect yourself, avoiding situations, running away, monitoring your sensations, clinging to safety crutches, swallowing meds, going to therapy, is not fucking working. In fact, it's making things worse. You're feeling the very thing you're trying to fix. Why? Because their attitude and behavior is built on fear and resistance, and fear plus resistance equals jet fuel for the panic response. Want a different outcome? Then do the opposite of what you've been doing. That means adopting an attitude that feels weird at first, one that says, I'm not going to fight. I don't care if I feel this way. I'm not running. I give panic permission to hang around. This is what is known as a non-resistant attitude. It's fearless, paradoxical, counterintuitive to what you think you should do. And at first, it'll go against everything your brain screams at you. But it works. When you drop the fear of sensations, fear loses its power. The sensations become just that, sensations, harmless, temporary, nothing more. And here's your key takeaway. You always have the power to choose your attitude right here, right now, in any moment. You can choose how to interpret your sensations. You choose the meaning you give them. You can choose not to freak out. That's the beginning of real change. Why? Because the subconscious doesn't think for itself. It acts on the commands of your conscious mind. So when your attitude says stand down, your body listens. This is habit breaking. The old anxious behaviors and thoughts will kick and scream to stay alive. Expect setbacks, expect resistance, and keep going anyway. That's how you build new neural pathways. That's how you train your subconscious to form new habits. That's how you heal. Remember, you're not broken. You've just been running the wrong mental software. Attitude is the new operating system. Whatever you consistently think, believe, and practice, backed by action, becomes your new reality. This is where change begins, not with more coping strategies, not with more safety crutches, but with the decision to change your attitude right here, right now. Lesson number 6, you fear the sensations, not the situation. I have broadly touched on this already, but this is so important, it deserves its own dedicated lesson. Racing heart, tightening chest, shaking, flushing, depersonalization, derealization. They feel catastrophic, but they're not. They're just sensations. The body's fire alarm. That's it. And the moment you stop treating them like real threats, they lose their power. It's just adrenaline, just stress hormones. You felt worse and you've survived. See, you think the supermarket, the cafe, the meeting room is what you fear, but it's not. You're scared of how you'll feel in those places. That means the fear isn't out there, it's in here, and that's exactly where your power is. I used to blame everything. The places, the people, the situations, the government, Netflix, the weather, but it was never them. It was me, my reactions, my fear of the horrible but harmless sensations. Once I got that, really got that, I started taking back the territory. One foot in front of the other. No more blaming, no more running, just retraining. You're not afraid of the cafe. You're afraid of how you'll feel in the cafe. Heart racing, chest tightening, that wave of dread. And once you realize that, once it clicks, you can stop avoiding the places and start retraining your response to the sensations. That's the key. Not avoiding, not coping, just learning to feel, not flee. Let me share a typical moment in my life on the road to recovery. I'm in a supermarket, my trolley's full. I'm standing in line at a counter. Customers in front, customers behind. I'm sandwiched in with nowhere to go. Classic setup. So I start stacking the conveyor belt like a boss, trying to make myself look busy, I guess. Then bam, out of nowhere, a thought. Holy fuck, what if someone tries to talk to me while I'm caged in? What if I panic? Cue the panic response. Now, just like clockwork, my initial habitual response was to get ready to grab my phone so I could fake a call. And sure enough, the person behind me asks a totally innocent question for small talk, but to me it felt like an ambush. My brain screams, they're going to see you freak out. You're trapped. Get the fuck out now. So, while the other customer's still talking, I start reaching for my phone. But then I remembered something along the lines of this. It's not the supermarket. It's not the person talk to me. It's not the queue. I've never died on one before, and I won't today. I fear the sensations. They're horrible, yes, but they're harmless. They're just following my, oh shit, I'm in danger command. So I make a choice in that moment to shift my focus, not on the person, not on the queue, but on the sensations, and I speak to them directly. I say, fuck it. Whatever happens, I'll handle it like a boss. I'm staying right here. I then follow this up with physical action. I take my hands off the phone, look the person in the eyes, stood tall and responded, and practiced not giving a shit. And guess what? I didn't freak out. I was on edge, but I didn't bolt. I still had the stress hormones coursing through my veins, keeping my body on high alert, but I no longer feared. And slowly the sensations died off because I sent a clear message to my subconscious. There's no danger. Panic. Stand down. Now listen, on my road to eventual healing, I didn't nail it every time. Some days were pretty freaking rough. I stumbled, but I always showed up, always stepped up to the plate and swung the bat. And with practice, courage, and a plan, I rewired my brain and completely removed social anxiety in a very short space of time, as it turns out, when I practiced the right attitude. Lesson number 7. When you stop running from fear, fear stops running you. Let's go back to 2008, one of the last panic attacks I ever had. I was working as a management consultant. That day I had a big meeting lined up, and like clockwork, the dread kicked in hours beforehand. I'd run this drill thousands of times before, looking for excuses not to front up, avoiding mental gymnastics. But I couldn't get out of this one. I had to show up. By the time I walked into the boardroom, I was mentally fried, no energy left to fight. I sat down, looked at my clients, and just said to myself, fuck it, go for it, I'm done running. I didn't try to manage it. I didn't try to fix it. I just let it come. I gave it full permission. And then something incredible happened. The fear gone, the panic gone. The sensations were still there, heart racing, body on edge, but the terror had vanished. That's when it clicked. I didn't need to suppress the sensations. I needed to stop fearing them. I needed to stop resisting the moment. I had accidentally found the antidote to panic, non-resistance. And from that moment, I finally understood what healing meant. Not coping, not escaping, but changing your relationship to fear. See, the whole time I thought fear was chasing me, but the truth was I'd been feeding it by running, by resisting, by trying to outsmart it. And here's the lesson. You don't have to feel fearless. You just have to stop running. Because when you stop running from fear, fear stops running you. Lesson number 8, stop caring what others think. This might be the most important lesson for anyone suffering from social anxiety. Because you're not just afraid of the horrible but harmless sensations, you're also afraid of something else. The fear of being seen, the fear of embarrassment, the fear of being judged for not coping and then accepting that judgment. What a brutal combo. That dynamic duo is what keeps so many sufferers stuck, and I know firsthand. Let's go back to 2008 again. I was a team leader at Toyota New Zealand looking after a team of analysts in the finance group. Now imagine this managers meeting, boardroom table, all eyes on me, on cue, panic. My worst fear, being exposed. So I did what I always did, made up some bullshit excuse and bolted, rushed to the toilets, ripped off my shirt and tie and splashed cold water all over myself, anything to calm the fuck down. And then came the self-beating. You're weak, you're a failure, they're all judging you. It would take me about 20 to 30 minutes to compose myself enough to fake it and walk back in like nothing had happened. That was my life. Bloody hell. But here's the truth. Social anxiety isn't just panic. It's the fear of being seen panicking, the fear of people seeing you struggle, the fear of what they might think. So let me drop some truth. No one gives a shit about you. You're not that important to them. Everyone's in their own world, managing their own chaos. They're not judging you. They're not even noticing you. We're all fighting our own battles. No one's squared away. Yours isn't unique. And that's good news. So what do you do then? You change your story, you change your attitude, and you start practicing not giving a shit. Here's how. Number 1, change your story. You're not cursed, you're not broken, you're not the only one who's been through this, you're not alone, and if I can climb out of the hole I was in, so can you. Number 2, practice unconditional love and acceptance, warts and all, right here, right now. Now is all we have, it can't possibly be any other way. What other choice do we have? Not one day when I'm better, not if only I was stronger. There is no such thing as shoulda, coulda, if only. Love and accept yourself as you are, beyond your ego, beyond the need for approval and validation. The more you do that, the less power others' opinions will have over you. 3, practice daily gratitude. You woke up today, millions around the world didn't. Let's just start there, eh? Let it ground you. Gratitude is a muscle. Practice it, especially on the really shitty days. Even a rough day can carry a moment of light, a moment of meaning, if you're willing to look. And what happens when you do all this? You build emotional bandwidth and strength. And eventually, you build so much self-love and acceptance, you gain the courage to not give a shit what anyone else thinks. And that's courage. It lets you stand face to face with fear and say, fuck it, whatever happens, I'll handle it. This mindset won't stick overnight. It's not magic. It's a discipline, a daily choice. You'll stumble, that's fine. I did. Just keep showing up with love, with acceptance, with gratitude. Final recap. If you want to heal, this attitude is non-negotiable. No one gives a shit, just your ego. The only one noticing you having difficulty is you. Everyone's too busy with their own shit. Self-love plus gratitude equals freedom from shame. Drop the victim story, start healing. Honestly, I wish someone had told me this years ago. Now you know, so don't waste it. Lesson number 9, get perspective. I've got great news for you. Despite what your mum said and maybe your auntie or primary school teacher, you aren't that special or unique. Stay with me, everything's going to be okay. Believe it or not, this is the best news you'll hear all day. Because the more we build things up in our heads, our trauma, our fear, our situation, the more insurmountable it feels. We sit in our own corner, wallowing in our own sorrow, telling ourselves that our suffering is worse than anyone else's. We let it percolate in our mind until it becomes massive, untouchable, permanent. We tunnel in and hunker down in our mind. We lose perspective. We lose the ability to see a way forward. I've lost count of the number of students I've worked with over the years who are adamant they couldn't recover. They were buried so deep in their own beliefs and story, convinced their anxiety was beyond fixing. But in almost every case, When I showed them the journey of others, some of whom who had been through far more than they had, it was like something finally clicked. They saw that their suffering wasn't that unique. It wasn't any worse. It was just a story. And that moment of perspective became a turning point. Once they saw themselves as someone like all the others who had healed, they found the courage to start doing what needed to be done. Because here's the truth, there is no such thing as comparative suffering. Pain is pain, fear is fear, panic is panic. Your anxiety isn't any worse. It's not more tragic, it's not more hopeless. It just feels that way because you've been playing the same scratch record in your head for years and fooling yourself into believing that your suffering is somehow special and unique to you. But that's just fucking bullshit. And it's keeping you stuck, paralyzing you with doubt and fearing to attempt. You know the usual suspects. Why me, if only? No one else has it this bad. That broken story fuels your limiting beliefs, makes your pain seem bigger than it is, and it convinces you that you're beyond help. I was a walking, talking weapon of mass destruction at the height of my suffering. And look at me now, completely healed. Not just coping, not just surviving, but thriving. I'm absolutely crushing it and leaning into whatever life throws at me like a ninja. The point is, the second I changed my story, changed my beliefs, applied the plan, practiced, and never fucking gave up, that's when things shifted. So what can you do now? You get perspective. You study those who have been where you are and now have what you want. You let their wins dismantle your excuses. You find your inspiration. You realize you're not alone and you're definitely not broken. You're just human, and healing is human too. Recap. Stop building your pain into something no one else could possibly understand. Ditch the I'm different narrative. It's keeping you stuck. Your suffering isn't a world first, although I know sometimes it feels like that, right? It's not a new disease or discovery. Plenty have already walked in your shoes and found peace and healing. You and I aren't that different. If I can crack the code and completely heal, then so can you. Get perspective. And here we are, the last one. Lesson number 10. Never fucking give up. Before things stuck, before I cracked the code, I failed a lot. Panic attacks came and went. Some days I won, others not so much. I panicked, bolted, fell apart. But here's the difference. I kept showing up. I always swung the bat. Because healing isn't clean, it's not linear, and it's definitely not comfortable. Everything is hard until it becomes easy. And this is no different. You're not learning something new. You're unlearning deeply wired habits. You're walking towards fear, not away from it. That's what most people avoid. It's easier to take a pill. It's easier to lie on the couch and talk shit. It's easier to hide behind coping strategies and safety crutches. It's easier to run. But easy doesn't set you free. It keeps you stuck. Real change, it happens in the heat of battle. It happens when you choose to lean into what feels impossible again and again and again until it no longer is. Here's the truth. You are closer than you think. Prepare, plan, change your beliefs, change your attitude. Get perspective, drop the why me story. You're not special in your suffering, and that's exactly why you're capable of healing. There are ex-sufferers out there who've overcome more than you could imagine, and they started exactly where you are. So it's your turn now. Step up to the plate. Start swinging. You're going to get knocked down, so fucking what? Learn, get back up, and take another swing. And remember, never fucking give up. That's it. Those are the 10 lessons I wish someone had handed me when I was drowning in anxiety. If any of it hit home for you, you've already started healing. Let's keep the momentum. Step 1. If you have any questions for me, reach out through the link below. Don't leave it in the comments because I never read them. Remember, I don't give a shit. If you're serious about healing, you'll find me. Step number 2, download the free PDF guide. Get all the 10 lessons in one place. Print it, highlight it, build paper planes with it, carry it with you. Use it as a blueprint. Check out the link below. Step 3, grab the Attackpanic 2nd edition. This is the complete roadmap. Real stories, real recoveries, packed with tools, truth bombs, and the exact process I use to heal myself. Buy the book today and start applying it instantly. Step 4, work with me directly. If you're ready for hands-on help, I offer a 4-week personal coaching program. One-on-one, no fluff, just real-time transformation. I walk with you, you apply the plan. Apply via the link below. And step 5, join the waitlist for the online course and app. If you want to go at your own pace, the full course is coming soon. Join the waitlist and I'll email you as soon as it drops. Bottom line, you're not broken. You've just been taught the wrong story. Now you've got the real one. Choose your path below and take the next step. And remember, never fucking give up.